something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, g'day, folks. How are you? Look at me poking around on the side there. Hope you're doing all right. I'm sorry about last night. I've been a bit crook again and not feeling the best tonight. I'm feeling like the proverbial washed-out dish rag tonight, as opposed to last night where I just looked like it. But now I really feel like it. So, don't know, it must be just the change of season, so to speak, change of temperatures, given my little trip south, which we will hear more about in tonight's show. But I hope you are doing well. It is Friday, so I hope your weekend is getting off to a good start. And you're not doing anything too loud, outrageous, or carrying on. There is some good news to kick off the beginning of the weekend. Thousands have signed the petition to shut down the Office of the Special Investigator. It's being reported, I think, through Sky News. That Office of the Special Investigator is the office responsible for coming up with these historic war crimes. Ben Roberts-Smith featuring heavily in that, of course, but there are others. This petition calls for the government to walk away from any prosecutions and to do so in the interests of national unity, amongst other things. I don't think that would be a bad excuse for the government to use to walk away from what is a very poorly conceived and very, very badly executed exercise in trying to set someone up and get away with it. It's my belief that a lot of what happened and transpired with the OSI only transpired because the bloke who wrote the report against our Afghanistan veterans and highlighted what he later seemed to think were war crimes also happened to be the new head of the OSI, working hand in hand with the Australian Federal Police, something I don't believe the Australian Federal Police have any business being part of. And for those that are asking why Ben Roberts-Smith wasn't court-martialed or tried under military justice, it is because Ben is out of the army these days. So if he were still in the army, he would be court-martialed and tried under a military tribunal. But apparently in Australia, once you are out of the army, you get to fall into our side of it. So God help him and God bless him and others. Thank you for your service if you've served for this nation. Speaking of a bloke who never gets thanked enough and serves an awful lot, I don't know about for the nation, but he helps an awful lot of people like me. It is the Waving Wonder, all the way from what looks to be a chilly South Australia.
Well, yes, no, it's actually a way for me to advertise the new hoodie.
Very
right,
good.
Nice
be careful when you hold the. Be careful when you hold those up. They look like little snot things hanging out of your nostrils, depending on where you put them. So,
well, they've got nice little silver caps on the end of them, for starters, so they're not
very good.
Open.
Show us that after you've washed it. Yep.
Yep. Well, we go clinking around in my dryer. Big, thick, heavy hood. The fleece is actually really quite thick. I was really surprised at how well it came up. I'll see if I can show that's the front. Let's see if I can get the back showing. Can you see it?
Very good. Yes. Excellent. Excellent.
Right. And
there you go.
I thought I would test it out today, and I was just because it's quite cold over here, 10, 11 degrees here down here in Manham area.
Yep.
So I'm wearing a hoodie and just the hoodie.
Wow.
Well, I'm wearing some below as well. Lana just cracked.
Right.
I
was going to say.
Yeah.
He has got pants on.
I have got pants on. That's right. Yeah. Right. But and I've been super warm in it. So yes, I am.
Well, clearly we can't see your nipples poking through it, so that's a good sign as well.
Really? You had to go there? You had to go there.
Hey, it's important to some people. I had this discussion once. It's important to some people. That is a must check out for some people. Not too many
Right,
blokes,
yeah.
I'll admit, but for some others, then it's very definitely check outable. Just want to thank you again for running me around and being part of everything that we did last weekend. It was wonderful to be hanging out with you again for a while. So it was good to catch up. So I just wanted to thank you again.
No, that's all right. No worries. Yeah, it was quite good being chauffeured around by the driver who never speeds.
No, not like that bastard who drove back and, was chasing down motorcycle police at a beeping rate.
You really must get round to changing that thing off 100 and to 110. That beeping device.
I think so.
Says you.
Yes.
Yeah. Not that it actually sits there, but I'm not going to say where it actually sits because we're live on air. So no.
Now this week, after you've been driving, this week you're aware that last week you dobbed me straight in.
I never dobbed you in. I never said anything like that at all.
That's not how I remember it. I remember you dumping me solidly in it.
Well, what are mates for but to stir
like
the
a
crap out of
schoolboy in
mates.
front of the principal you were. Couldn't get out of you fast enough.
Yeah, mate. So, well, it's the Aussie way. Give your mates shit. Right? It's something to do with culture, I believe. Oh, so are we allowed to say that word?
Hey, well, speaking now, what a great segue. Paul Hogan, right?
Yep.
So Paul Hogan, I think it's fair to say, made his name representing a very particular type of Australian to the world. Laconic sense of humor, mateship, irreverence, toughness, and an absolute refusal for Aussies to take themselves seriously. Now, he used to do a show called The Paul Hogan Show, which predates Crocodile Dundee, right? But there's his Crocodile Dundee picture. That's what poor old Hogs looks like these days. He's well into his 80s. But back in the day, he did these characters. Now, oops, wrong one. Now, I remember the bloke in the middle above Hoag's head as Donga. He was a police detective who had a beer gut and used to bash people up against the wall with his beer gut and bash a confession out of them. That was him. The other bloke in the weird-looking hat to his left in the red shirt, he was like some weirdo on the sand at the beach doing what Aussies do, like get burnt shitless walking across it. There was a drunk who's the other fella in the hat. And then up the back, you can't really see, but from memory, that was a new Australian who used to do all the mad, stupid jobs like, blow up things and do all the hard jobs. That was Luigi, I think his name was. So Hoax took the piss out of every sort of immigrant that came to this country. He made a TV show about it. He and Strop made a lot of money out of it. And there's Strop too. What sort of an Australian character was Strop? So just to prove I've found a picture. But then he comes out and criticizes Pauline Hanson and One Nation, telling them that that they don't know anything about the culture, and multiculturalism is this, that, and the other thing. He is, I think, quite rude in getting up and trying to inject himself into this multicultural, monocultural conversation, because there aren't too many more monocultural stars that this country has generated than Crocodile Dundee or Paul Hogan.
Correct. 100% correct. So, you've got to wonder why people think this way nowadays. I mean, part of what we'll talk about a little bit later is actually we're going to go back to the 70s for another reason. But
Leo Wanker, thank you, Tony. Leo Wanker was the name.
Oh, that was the name of the guy, was it?
Yep, Leo Wanker. Sorry, I'd forgotten about that. But yeah, sorry, what are we going to talk about a bit later?
We're going to jump back into the 70s because the Guardian brought out, I suppose we can segue into that right now if you want.
Yeah.
But the Guardian brought out a article today that was talking about the differences in the wages between the upper class and the lower class of Australia. So that got me thinking, because things like that do occasionally make me think. And I thought, okay, so what is the differences now? You know, I've been saying for months, you know, that you need over 100 grand a year to be able to buy a house, etc., and so on. And that's coming from personal reference from my son. So from there, I went and asked a couple of questions, did a bit of stat averaging, and we got this. All right. Sorry, not the one I want. Let me find my correct
So
one.
we got another this. We got that.
We go to this. Yeah, we go to this one. So today's average income, right? These are the percentages from the 70s to 2026, right? The low income earners back in the 70s was 20 to 25%. In 2026, it's now 35 to 40%. All right. Middle
That's percentage
income.
of population.
Percentage of working population.
Right. Yep.
That's what this is, only working population, just to be clear. Right. The middle income back in the 70s was 50 to 60%. It's now 40 to 45. So you can see that there's a significant drop. Right. The above average seems to have stayed the same, 15 to 20% and 15 to 20%. Very high income, the 3 to 5% is was much larger back in the 70s than it is today. So what that's telling us is that there's a whole lot of people who effectively aren't getting that sort of wage. What sort of wages are we talking about? This is the latest ATO here for 2026 or 2023 because we're using the ABS and ATO data. So we've got to take into account that they haven't done one recently. And I wonder why. Maybe they're afraid of what the stats will show. But low income, most people are under $50,000 a year. All right. And by the way, just for your information, the average full-time wage is $106,000 a year, as you can see down there on the bottom of the page. Middle income, all right, then see that's 35 to 40% or 5.5 to 6.2 million people in this country out of the 16 million people who are classed as working are below classed as low income. All right. Middle income, which is $50,000 to $100,000 a year, is 40 to 45%, or 6.27 to 7 million people. So if we add that up there, right, if we take the 7 to 6%, that's 13.2 million people out of the population, the working population of 16 million, who are not making the average wage. By my maths.
That doesn't include the people who are gainfully employed by the government to do absolutely nothing.
Well, it does, because they're classed as working people. So yes, it does. Unless you're talking about the under the people who are currently sitting on unemployment, then no, it doesn't. All right. Above 100,000 is the 15 to 20%, or 2.5 to 3 million. But here's the interesting thing. Look at this. The average wage, which is what they keep telling us, the government keeps bringing out. The average wage, full-time wage, is $106,700. But the median, the typical employee's wage, is only $74,000. Look at the gap between those two.
Yeah.
That is absolutely huge. All right. And you know, you need $100,000 to buy a house. Well, if, you know, how many there? What did I say? 13 million people can't afford to buy a house. So now compare that. I mean, if I grab the right one, Is that the one I'm looking for? No, I don't think so. Sorry, guys. Let me just find out the right clip. No, maybe I didn't grab it. Okay, off. So effectively, what's going on there is it means that the average person, right, if we take back in the 70s when the average wage for a person was around $4,000, right, and the average of the median range was $3,900 and something dollars, there's very little gap. There's only a 6% gap between the median wage and the average wage. Yeah. Now, if we do those figures today, that gap is 30% between the median wage and the average wage.
I would also argue that employment these days is the employment numbers are jigged differently too, because now so many people only get part-time hours in a job, not full-time hours. So so the place of business has to employ 1, 2, or 3 people, which says, oh, look, we've got 3 jobs off the books, rather than they're not full-time jobs, they're part-time jobs. And that's why we've got so many people running 2, 3, 4 jobs, because that's how many jobs they need to work to get the hours to pay for their mortgage. So it's a false economy anyway.
Yeah, well, 100%. And in Senate estimates, they actually said in one of the Senate estimates that a person is not classed as unemployed if they do an hour a week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, that's easy to bring the unemployment figures down, isn't it?
The figures, right? How do they're classed as underemployed, but they're not classed as unemployed because they've done an hour a week.
Yeah, creative accounting, and
it's what it's all about.
Absolutely friggin' everywhere.
And we need to deal with that.
Looks like Victoria might be trying. A major corruption report into Dan Andrews and his dealings with the unions is set to be released after the Supreme Court rejected, I think it was the 5th or 6th attempt by the government to bury this whole report and to stop it being released to the public. So Victorians, you're about to get a really good idea of potentially where some of this $15 billion that's gone missing from the big build project in Victoria has gone. Now, Vince, you and I haven't, unfortunately, been offered any positions on the big build, and we would both be ideally suited, because from what I hear and is being reported in a number of different circles, there are a large number of people working, and I say that with inverted commas, on big build jobs, being paid $4,000 a week, and they do absolutely nothing. I would have thought you and I could do that.
Oh, I'm good at doing nothing. Yeah, no problems. I can handle that job. I'm qualified for that.
I'm highly qualified for that. In fact, I reckon I'm worth $6,000 a week to do that.
Yep. Yeah. We'll get you to utter a word or two to say how brilliant it is and the big build is going well. So, yeah.
Oh, you'd want me to lie? You want me to lie as well, do you?
Oh, mate, isn't that what part of the job is about? Isn't that a
No, I just thought I could be one of the nameless, faceless union thugs that sits in the background and says nothing, and just takes the $4,000 and goes down the pub.
Well, if you're not going to say anything, mate, I'm sorry, but the job is, if you're keeping your mouth shut, 4,000 is all you're getting.
Would I get 6 if I said I wasn't going to keep my mouth shut?
As long as you point the conversations in a direction other than looking at us, that's fine.
I don't know, mate. We're talking about Mick Gatto on the sidelines here. I mean, Mick knows how to chat.
This conversation just went really weird.
I was going to see how far you were going to push it.
Well, you mentioned Mick Gatto, and I'm thinking I don't know that fella, so maybe not.
That's spectacular. Hey, thank you so much to Wayno. He's upped his membership. Don't forget, folks, you can become a member you can do it through the YouTube channel, which would be absolutely wonderful. And thank you to Paul. He's been part of the deal too. So can't thank you enough. But yes, nice to have the Stony Creek Bush Camp and Caravan Park. Look, and another donation. Mate, you're a legend. Thank you. It's so nice of you.
Have you seen the footage that Carl did of the Slots for Fun? Man, it is magnificent. If none of you guys have seen it, you need to go and have a look at Carl's editing skills from on the YouTube channel, right? For the slots. It was brilliant. I was super impressed. Super impressed.
Thank you to everybody.
He's bragging to me about it. He could do it. Now he's proved it.
I wasn't bragging to you at all. And I think it's a pretty rough edit just between you, me, and the gatepost. I give myself carpal. I've given myself carpal tunnel in the hand, and you can tell that it's so sore that tonight's little effort, while I'm sitting here throwing up thank yous to everybody, and thank you to Silver Fox. I hope you're recovering, mate. I hope your leg, foot is improving. The best I could do to edit some footage out of last Saturday night so I could show everybody what it was like is because the band was playing some songs, well, most of their songs, bar one, were other people's songs. So we run into a copyright issue. So I've found the one song that shouldn't have a copyright issue, and it's just a little, I picked this little bit as an homage to Watha, who should be picking up his harmonica right about now and getting ready to play along with this. All right, I think that's about as much of it as I'm actually allowed to show before I've got to come on and say a few words, and then I can do this again.
You got this. Shake it, baby. You won't break it.
Grace wouldn't break that, but trust me, if she gets you on her table, there is a potential for her to break whatever ails you right out of you. She's very good with the Bowen therapy. Very, very good indeed.
Yeah, Grace doesn't even really follow the show, so.
Yeah, got more of a plug than everybody else. Anyway, you get the idea. I can't play too much of the music. It looks a bit quiet there at that point, but trust me, it fired up. And marvelous night had by all. We had an absolute ball of a time. The band was exceptional. So if you're looking for a band over on the York Peninsula and I think they're prepared to travel. They're based out of Port Augusta, but Station Blues, they're called, and contact Wayno at the Stony Creek Bush Camp and Caravan Park. He will put you onto them if you are looking to book them for a gig. We had a ball, didn't we? Well, you scarp it off relatively early.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I sort of went and just vegged out by myself for a while. It was a great environment, but I just felt like a bit of a alone time because, you know, I'm a male and I do that sort of thing.
Do you remember when the Labor Party used to stand for something, Vince? I mean, you and I would have been very young men at the time.
Stand for something?
Yes, no. This is something that comes from 1967. And it's one of Labor's own, Arthur Caldwell, who came out with this. He said, if Australians are ever foolish enough to open their gates to people other than Europeans, they will soon find themselves fighting desperately to stop the nation from being flooded by hordes of non-integratables.
That's very diplomatic.
And today we have this.
Yeah. Well, it's actually a fairly reasonable facsimile of what he's been doing. So, yeah.
100%. Horrible prick. Hey, there was some news recently that Albo had his bank accounts broken into by a couple of young blokes who were working for Ernst & Young. Now, I don't believe I should be showing you this, but I put my tongue firmly in the cheek of my mouth when I suggest to you that this is what has been found. You'll find the deposits rather interesting and where they're coming from.
Yes,
And
I
some
think
of-
some rather creative editing was done on this.
Yes,
be fair.
AI may have been involved. Just saying, AI may have been involved. I'm just saying, be aware. Something else. Have we ever? You and I have spoken about it, I think, but I'm not sure we've let the people in on the fact that there is a new show in development at the moment in the background for FBN. Now, this show will at some point star Wapda because he is a bit of a legend. But at the moment, while he's getting his foot back on track, so to speak, he's a bit hamstrung or toe-strung, as the case might be. However, that has not stopped him for preparing for his televisional debut, or at least his show here. This is tonight's ingredients. You can see the meat, you can see the cauliflower, you can see the coconut and the curry. What is that he's making? Well, he is making this magnificent, and I do think it to be truly cauliflower-esque magnificence. A
looks like a
spectacular
stroganoff.
curry.
Is it a curry or a stroganoff?
No, it's a curry.
Okay.
And that's cauliflower. It is, in fact, a kangaroo and cauliflower curry.
Nice.
Which leads us to the name of our new show.
Uh-oh.
The Fornicators.
I was waiting for that.
Now, if you've got a better name for a show, folks, I'd be very keen to hear it. But right now, we believe that the Fornicators is leading the pack when it comes to what we're going to call this. And what will it feature? Well, it will feature food based on our fauna. Doesn't mean that we've got to go and pick it up off the side of the road. I mean, you can clearly see that what has been to the shop and picked up some pre-prepared fauna in the case of some roux. But I think we've got a winner on our hands. Now, I don't know what we're going to do when it comes to possum. I guess if we find a possum on the road, that's okay. If it's dead, I mean, if it's still alive, you're not allowed to put it in the pot. I'm just saying.
Well, that'll make we could be chasing the one or two that we saw floating around Stony Creek while we're up there.
Well, no, they're alive and protected.
Oh, damn. Forgot, we're not back in the 1900s, are we? Yeah. Everything's been taken away from us now.
We're not in New Zealand, where apparently possums are fair game. We were talking to some wonderful New Zealand folks, I think, on Friday night as they were making their way from the deep south of Western Australia to Bundaberg to take up a new job, or two new jobs, I suspect. I hope you got there okay, guys. They were loaded up in their Hilux. Goes to show, folks, how much can you put in a Hilux. They had 200 and something litre external fuel tank in the back of that as well to help them stop for less fuel, I guess, on their way across. But it was loaded up to buggery, rooftop tent on it. And yes, I hope they got there. Indian kangaroo, how multicultural. Yeah, an Indian curry kangaroo. It couldn't be more multicultural, could it?
Well, hang on. Who was it made by? Who designed it? It's definitely not the Pavlova, so I learnt on Friday night.
Oh, no, you lost that one, didn't you?
Badly.
I'm surprised I let you dive into that because...
well, yeah, thanks, mate. I really appreciate the backup. Yeah, that was great. Thanks, yeah.
Well, I didn't hear it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have let you embarrass yourself so badly. But I got them back. I said that, they're very confused if they think that Russell Crowe is one of theirs.
Yeah, so if for those who are not aware, the pavlova is not Australian. It's actually first come from New Zealand. So I got so well educated on Friday night by this lovely New Zealand lass. And it's
Very
interesting.
feisty.
I hardly picked that they were from New Zealand. Their Ocker accent was coming on pretty good. It was only when she said something, there was a particular word, and I picked up the accent. And so I had to get her to say fish and chips and six. So, yeah.
That was a bit of a giveaway.
Yeah, the dead giveaway. Yep.
It was a bit of a giveaway. It was
hang on, what's this one? Scotty, the news has got one.
McGrew-Tucker. McGrew-Tucker. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
All right.
We don't come across too much platypus roadkill, but if you come up with a name for it, I'd be interested to see what we could make should we ever find one that's committed harry-carry on the side of a very clean creek somewhere. No, I don't want to eat a platypus. Just stop the trolls now. We are having a bit of fun. It's Friday night free for all you.
The emu meat's pretty good too, apparently. So
apparently, and I would like to try an emu egg. You know, scrambled. Somebody got in trouble in Sydney recently for selling those. Did you see that? Yeah,
no, I didn't.
Yeah, there was a supermarket over there that was selling emu eggs at $5 an egg or whatever there was. They didn't realize they weren't meant to be selling them, and they were shut down by the health department very, very rapidly. It turns out that all eggs, this is how weird it is, all eggs can carry certain things like salmonella, but apparently emu eggs have a higher chance of it. Do you believe that? I don't know that I believe that. If it's coming from a
government policy, I would probably be wary. Or a bureaucrat's paper.
I'd certainly like to get one tested and see how many people you could feed off one scrambled egg.
Well, yeah. We at one stage had peacock eggs on the farm because we had a peacock. They're an interesting egg to eat, I might add, and quite large. So
you chip your teeth on the shell, do you? Or
no, cooked up properly, fried. So
right,
yeah.
Different taste.
Just much different taste to a chook egg completely. It takes a little while to get used to it. So, because of course we only had the one female, so there was no male around, so that didn't help. So,
I guess the benefit of eating,
peahen. Thank you.
Those sorts of eggs is that you've got a nice toothpick at the end of it if you pick the right feather out of it.
It was a peahen. Thank you, Toxic, for correcting me on my bad terminology. Yeah. So, look, like all good Aussies, I stick the wrong word in the wrong place at the wrong time every time.
That's right.
So
this is a peacock. Just saying.
Yeah, it likes to come out and tell us the absolutely bullshit obvious. Now, apparently, house prices have been making a dump as well.
Taking a dump, I think, is the way you would phrase that.
Well, yeah. Okay. See, once again, wrong word, wrong place. That's why I'm not a radio announcer. So
they're making a dump.
They're making a dump, and they're making most of their houses be a dumpster fire, to be honest. Right? I'm just thinking about my son who's in the middle of trying to purchase one. And there's great comments coming out now that they're talking about the fact that there's people who have bought houses on this 95, this 5% deal, who now have a house that's worth less than the mortgage they bought it for.
Yeah.
And, that's just bloody ridiculous. Why is this the case? Because,
well, one would always argue that 5% was not smart to get tied up. I know how appealing it is because I'm one of the people it should appeal to most. But even I could see that all it was going to do was put me in debt for what is the rest of my life.
Yep.
And at the end of that time, when I die, what little share I have in that asset will be eroded by the government snatchback. So I won't be able to will it on to Laura and have her gain anything positive really out of it. So, haven't bothered.
No, so I'm wondering where they're going to go with gold and silver in this tax. Are they going to start taxing people who pass on gold or silver as an inheritance? Is that going to become a capital gains tax thing that they're going to do? From what I'm hearing, it sort of sounds like it.
I believe that is going to be part of the case. There is also the worrying things that have come on since the 1st of July, and that person who's sitting in the room there steadfastly listening over your shoulder at the moment is one of these people that it affects badly.
Nope. She's just a bookkeeper. She actually falls outside of it. She's not an accountant.
I don't know. I thought these things were pretty much all encompassing. If you even hear of doing anything supposedly suspicious, I've got to report you.
Yep.
And that's across the board. There was a very interesting piece put out on July 1st by a lawyer in Sydney about it, who is absolutely disgusted.
Really good viewing. He has a lot to say. He's an ex-police prosecutor, right? Now a defense lawyer, was a copper. So he has a lot to say about that. And you're right, completely 100% disgusted about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it takes away any client confidentiality, any expectation of it. And that's a bad thing.
I don't know how that's going to work for lawyers. I mean, their whole deal is that whatever you tell me, right, is client privileged. But now it's not. And where is the line in that? Where do you draw the line? You know, I'm going to defraud the government. I'm going to report you, but I'm going to murder somebody. No, that's okay. You do whatever you're going to do. I can't say anything about it anyway. Actually, I think they can for murder. But it just, right, trust is gone. Zip, done. Yeah. We're out of here. Probably need to take the word out of the dictionary. Or maybe give it a new definition. Trust, something that was around at once upon a time, a long time ago, but nobody knows the true meaning of the word anymore because there's none of it left.
Well, that's true. Now, do you think that where in society is the trust eroded from? Is it at every level now? I mean, I don't think anybody can truly expect anything positive to come out of interactions with the police from it taking too long for them to turn up. You know, they don't perceive a robbery in your house to be something that they need to turn up to right now. Even if the robbers are just walking out the door, they won't turn up for a day or two. Oh, well, that's because we've got other jobs on. Well, our society has no respect for the police, as far as I can tell. Our youth have less respect for them than I've ever seen in my life, and are actively working against them, in many cases with the full knowledge that there is nothing the law can do about them. If the coppers catch them, they know they're going to be let out because they're too young under the young offenders law to have anything done with them, even though places like Queensland now are, pushing forward adult time for adult crimes. And I think Victoria is pretending to do something like that. But they pretended to be helping with the machete problem. Now, I don't know who handed in those machetes and, the millions upon millions upon millions of dollars it cost to get those secure bins for them to hand those machetes into, which mysteriously were scrapped, about 6 weeks after they were rolled out. And I do literally mean scrapped. There was a company in Melbourne who took pictures of them as they were scrapping them. So truly, the wastage in Victoria on all levels is plain for all to see, and yet this is in a roundabout fashion gets me to something else I wanted to talk about tonight with the Victorian state election coming up. There's been a new poll done suggesting that One Nation now are leading in Victoria by a point over the Liberals and the Labor Party. The problem is, as far as I can tell, in Victoria, there is one person I'm aware of that has been anointed to be Victorian One Nation anything. Now, I don't know if that person's running for a seat or is just head of One Nation Victoria or whatever, but there aren't any One Nation representatives in Victoria standing in seats yet.
No.
None. And we're 5 months out from what is going to be a significant election. Now, I've never known polls like this before, where it appears that the leader of the poll is winning the poll on nothing more than the vibe of it all.
Hearsay. Yep. Understanding that One Nation as a political party in Victoria still has to jump through all the hoops of the Victorian AEC to get the party properly registered there before they could even nominate people. So what we need to know is, are there people ready to step into those spots?
Yeah, apparently there are a number of people who are ready to step up as soon as it's able to be announced. But why wouldn't they be? Well, I guess you've just said that they haven't got the back end quite sorted yet.
Yeah, well, if someone comes out and starts advertising that they're going to run, at least in South Australia, for a particular party or whatever, if that party is not registered, they will go a row of shithouses from the AEC. Right, so they can't mention they're part of a political party or that they're running for a seat as a candidate until the candidacies are announced. People who were already in politics or already have a registered party, they can start earlier. No problems at all. It's a bit of the unfairness of the whole thing. So all these people can do is go and talk, talk about One Nation and do their stuff and jump around and whatever, but they can't say they're a candidate for One Nation because the AEC will jump on them like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, very true. Well, that's why we're seeing a friend of the show, Trevor Andre, down in the Ripon area of Victoria. He's pushing very hard on his Facebook channels and whatnot. Every video that he does, he is very keen to become a One Nation representative, but every video he does, he tags himself as a prospective One Nation representative.
Perspective being the key word.
Yeah, right? Because he hasn't been endorsed by the party yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes me wonder. I mean, I know they've got to do their due diligence, but this bloke is so keen, and we've had him on the show. I speak to him privately quite regularly. He is such a dynamo for his community. He has such belief in that area, and I believe would be an immensely strong voice inside the parliament for the people of Ripon. I guess the question that we have, not just of Trevor, but of everybody who wants to stand up for One Nation, is that what happens when you stand up and the party says, well, no, we're doing it a different way?
What do you mean by different?
Well, the party might decide that it's politically expedient to do option A rather than option B, which would help a certain amount of Australians, let's call it Victorians, on the B roads of Victoria, where they're tearing out shock absorbers and blowing wheels and shattering rims because the roads haven't been attended to in how many years. And the party says, oh, look, because I know Trevor particularly is doing that at the moment. He's showing people the size of the potholes as he comes across them as he's driving around Ripon. And they are massive, absolutely wheel-shatteringly bad potholes. Now, what happens when he is anointed as a One Nation representative, let's say, and he gets elected and gets into the party room and says, right, well, what are we going to do to fix these potholes? Because, you know, for the last 6 months, that's all I've done. I've pushed these potholes. The people expect me to fix these potholes. And all of a sudden, somebody in One Nation says, oh, no, well, that's not on the party thing. Well, instead, we're going to pay out the unions X amount of millions of dollars so we don't have to go to court to fight them over the $15 billion that they were gifted / stole during the prior election.
Yeah.
All right, because that's the politically expedient thing to do, not actually fix the problems. And that's where a bloke like Trevor, I would hope, I think I've got him pretty well pegged there, he wouldn't like that. He might allow it to happen once or twice, but pretty soon you'd find he'd be standing up to be independent in that place. I think
that might be the case. And I don't know where we could go with that as far as that is concerned, because obviously there's going to be some things that local areas are going to miss out on as the bigger picture is taking effect. So the question comes, does One Nation start working on the small things and try and build up to the big things? Or does it take on the big things first and knock them on the head and then work backwards? Right? It becomes that sort of a question. What do we do? Do we take the unions and get them out of there and take care of the 15 billion that went missing? Or do we start concentrating on some potholes? Or do we try and mix and match the both? It becomes a huge, huge task. And remember, these guys that get in there are going to be average working folks that have been CEOs of businesses or people who are working, who are going to have to learn the ropes of the parliament to start off with.
Well,
right?
One of those ropes Scott brings up here, that's the rope that leads straight back to Israel. Now, is that a rope that these new politicians are going to have to learn how to negotiate climbing or tightrope walking?
Nope. Right, because once again, you got to look at it. Israel is a secondary thing, and everybody is allowed their personal opinion, right? But the main difference is, are the people in this party going to be for Australia first? As far as I'm concerned, this argument about Israel is superfluous. The only time it becomes relevant if we are going over there to fight for anything. That's the only time it becomes relevant. Israel is a red herring. The same as Iran is a red herring. People who are supporting that, you know, if you live in this country and you're supporting that, have a look in your own country's backyard first before you get too bloody carried away. And try fixing this here, now. I'm starting to get a bit vocal. Sorry.
You go. I think...
it's the truth. Australia first. Pauline's always been about Australia first for the 30 years that I've heard from her, known her, etc. And as long as the people who are coming in under One Nation are Australia first, and that's the highest priority on the list, then that's what counts. The other is just crap. Forget about it. Not relative. Backyard first. Right? Fix your own home first. This is our country. This is our home. And I've said it before. Right? You come into my home, then you abide by my rules. So for all the immigrants that want to stay here and become Australian, welcome. For all of you who don't want to become Australian, fuck off.
I couldn't agree more with you. That's exactly the way that it should be done. If you've got a problem with the way that Australians live their life, then I would have thought you'd pick a different country to come to if it's so horrible to come here. But if you have decided and made that choice to come to Australia, nobody dragged you here, then you came here for the country we are, or we aspire to be once again. However, I don't think that's what they're being told in places like Mumbai when they're seeing the television ads come on the channel that the Australian government are paying for. Don't think the Australian government are putting it that way to them. They're saying, hey, listen, we need builders. We need Indian builders and tilers and Indian electricians, and we need Indian brick
We need
makers.
to train our own kids to do it.
Yeah.
Get their lazy little asses off of the chairs and from behind the whatever. I mean, you worked in industry, you've worked in hard-working jobs. I can remember working in timber mills, right? So, and pine faller. I was a pine faller. I worked in timber mills, forklift driver. I was like, so many hard jobs that I've done that kept me very, very fit. And those jobs are still out there today. Why do we need to bring people in when we've got so many unemployed? Or, sorry, correction, underemployed.
It's only been a couple of days now since I think it was somebody in the Liberal Party called out for the whole idea of national conscription to be brought back on to the table. Oh, actually, I don't think it was somebody in the Liberal Party. I think it was a Jewish bloke, one of the Lowies, head of the Lowy Institute, who's been appearing at the We're Going to Cry a Lot Royal Commission into Anti-Semitism. And he got up and suggested that Australia needs to introduce conscription, compulsory 2-year service for everybody from 17 years of age onwards if they don't have a job. And that means that if you're 23 and you've had a job from the time you were 17 to 23, but you get sacked because AI is taken over selling houses now and they don't need your spectacular talents, then that means you go and do 2 years in the Army, Navy or Air Force while you consider your options for what will be going forward. A new career, maybe in the Defence Force.
I think that while that would do a world of good to a lot of our younger generation, that's not something that can be done because of the fact that we have certain laws in the Constitution that forbid that. Personally, I think it's a good option, and I would like to see a couple of years. It would certainly straighten a lot of people out. But
I like Wayne's idea of a national work scheme.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we've talked about.
I mean, there are the amount that AI is going to take. I keep saying 45%, right, of those people who are currently working will lose their job over the next 5 years to an AI.
Yep.
Right. And that leaves the more hands-on stuff that the AI can't do. Right. That needs that little bit of creative thinking. You know, I need to actually do the right way of pushing this pipe this way or that way in the right fall, or, you know, wiring up a house, etc. So there's going to be jobs out there that our younger generation can do, but they've had it so well from us, and it's our fault because we gave it to them easy. Right? They don't know how now.
Does that mean we give up? I mean, we can't just give up. We've got to teach them again. The dog is farted again. Oh, my God.
Now we know why Carl's not feeling well. He's been gassed to death.
Oh, my God.
All right,
but, my God.
I'd love people. I'd love people in the chat underneath this Friday night to actually say, what jobs do you believe that will not be taken by AI in the next 5 years? Just be interesting. So that's what I'd love to see. All right. Going back even from the days when Kelvinator worked in Adelaide, and I used to have to hang fridge doors. Worst job ever. Right, I might add. But yeah. And if Carl has
could a plumber, like the real old sewage guy, just speaking of shit, could the AI be replaced by, could the plumber be erased by like a robot? I guess we have sort of robot things that can crawl up the pipes these days, don't we?
yeah.
So I guess the short answer to that is probably yes.
Theoretically, if you take my sci-fi...
Can somebody send a plumber around here with the appropriate tool to go up this dog's ass and clean it out, please? Because there's something very wrong with it.
That's a vet. That's a different thing. Right? But
I'd be happy with a plumber.
You're sort of right. I mean, down the track, there and AIs get well enough and robotics gets well enough. Could these jobs be taken over by AI? Believably, yes, I think so. Right. But there's always going to be that odd case where the AI is just not going to work. I mean, when I was having a fight getting these stats today, I had to go around it about 5 different ways just to get the stats on what wages were.
Yeah.
You know, the average wage of $4,000 a year in the 70s to the average wage of 74,000. Sorry, average 106,000. Right? That's a big difference. That's a big difference. But to get like the numbers, man, it made me jump through hoops.
Oh, of course. So, it doesn't want to tell you the truth.
No.
No.
But
that's
yeah. So there might be, can a robot wire a house? Yes. And so on and so forth. Right. But I don't know. In the meantime, we have to think of other ways to be creative.
Well, can I show you one?
Go for it.
So last weekend we discussed, about this time last week, how some kids from Whyalla got on the big Silverbird with no propellers and flew all the way to Switzerland to participate in a hydrogen GP, an H2 GP. Now, these were small remote control cars run on hydrogen. Get a look at this. Now, that's the Aussies you're watching there, out front, leading the pack. Now, this was a series of hydrogen races, but endurance playing a certain role. And you're about to see the Australians clean sweep the pit stop.
Not bad time.
I just want to send my congratulations out to the team because they won.
Hey!
Now, the photo that I've got there is actually them taking up the pit stop challenge time. They did the fastest pit stop as well, but they also won their category, and I think they're on their way home or have just arrived back home now. So many congratulations. I know Tim Dwyer was very interested to learn more about what they were doing too, but they had designed, built and raced their own remote control car running on hydrogen. It is the way of the future, and they were up against, I forget now, I think it was 100 and, well, it was over 100 teams from other countries around the world, and they got through a process that eventually got them to Switzerland, and what a win it has been for them. So congratulations. Great to see some Aussie ingenuity coming to the forefront and having a win. Yes, Lana has no idea of studio etiquette. I know, but, you know, what do we do? We can't throw her on the tools or in the pot. So, you know, got to do the right thing.
All right. I can stick the mic back on now. Yeah. So, no.
All right. Love your work. You have yourself a fabulous time, and I trust your weekend will be filled with mirth, madness, and all things Lana.
Well, I'm just getting herself set up with a new PC, which we bought refurbished off that. So we're just trying to get the data and stuff transferred over. It's one of my many tasks that I keep trying to do. So remember, guys, what jobs do you think AI can't do in the next 5 years that our good, young, youthful people who need to learn how to work can? Oh, and I should say that one of my children who's working now as a service station attendant is rapt because it gave him so much confidence to have a job. So just to let you know.
It makes
people
a
who are far
huge
too
difference.
complicated. Oh, complacent.
Yes, complacent.
For
People are too complacent.
Yeah,
for
100%. The AI is its whole new ball game, and the way it's moving is, yeah, I'm almost tempted to go back and watch Terminator for some strange reason. Anyway, I'm going to do
idea.
the one and only thing that I can do at this time of night, and that's say bye.
Hooroo, Bailey. Hooroo. He's a legend. The Waving Wonder will join us again, hopefully next Friday night, God willing, and all things being equal in a wonderful world, as I hope you will join us. We'll see what happens over the weekend. July 4th, big party in America. And I would have thought some big announcements, but I haven't seen or heard much today. But then again, I haven't been looking too hard today. I will keep an eye out over the weekend. Of course, tomorrow being the 4th, Sunday, our time. No, I beg your pardon. Sunday, our time, we will be seeing and hearing for the first time what Donald Trump has in store for the nation. I believe there is going to be an address to the nation on the 4th. And, of course, there are a number of EBSs planned across America and Australia in the following weeks. I see some people are saying it's a presidential EBS for Australia on the 27th of July. Please, folks, calm the farm. I have seen nothing remotely like that. I have seen an announcement that says it's basically a government test. Has nothing to do with a presidential anything. So if you are seeing that, then I suggest you are looking at something that has been fabricated for you others' enjoyment and to take the piss out of you. So do not have the piss taken from you, folks, ever. And if you do, try and give it back. Be safe if you're heading out over the weekend. Do things that keep you smiling, keep you happy, loving, and keep your family loving you. And don't go and embarrass them too much. I'm going to try that myself this weekend. Be safe on the roads. There are dickheads out there.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's rock!